So, can you define playback theater and psychodrama for the audience?
Sure, sure. So playback is playing back someone's personal stories by a theater company. And it's any story that's true for that person. And so as long as they're in their own story, they will tell their story to what's called a conductor. And that conductor will help craft and shape the story. And then the actors, usually there's 4 actors plus a musician, will be just listening to the story. And then they will embody the story and play it back through music and sound and action.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's the playing back of one authentic story. And so that will happen in a performance setting, that will happen in a workshop setting, but it's all based on the true improvisational, it's based on the true story of an individual.
Right.
That's played back by other people. Psychodrama is that person is telling their story, but they're in their story.
Ah, wow.
So I might tell you, so just as I told you the story of Latin Negro, if I was doing that in a playback, I might say, okay, I just told you the story of me meeting Kike. And I'd say, I'd like John to play Kike and I'd like Maria to play me, right? I'd be casting you in my play.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a playback experience. If I was doing psychodrama, you would be my therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, okay, Kimberly, let's go back to that first meeting when you met Kike. Go back in time and go back and be Kimberly as a 26-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's have another person in the therapy group who's going to play Kike. And let's have him embody that process. So we wouldn't necessarily tell this, we would enact the story.
Yeah.
And through enacting the story, we're going to go through, well, is there some unfinished business in the story? Is there some things that you might want to have said to Kike? Are there some things that you feel you start to go back and back? So yeah, you had this moment with Kike. Well, does this remind you of anything that happened prior to this? Did you ever have some unfinished business with your father, for example, that Kike is reminding you of? I mean, you're going to keep going back and sort of finding the missing pieces of someone's story and helping them address it in the past so that you can bring it into the present and they can be able, we can have more resources. So it's kind of like psychodrama is the private sort of discussion around all that. Playback is the entertainment part of that.
Mm.
So you're in a playback, you're actually having an audience. It's not a therapy group. You can have between 30 to 100 people, and several people will tell their stories. And all those stories will be recreated by the theater company and by the musicians. And in that sense, we're kind of telling what we call the collective story.